All right, so as I was saying regarding the plastic bag ban, um, West Norton is going to start theirs in April, and I started to connect with White Marsh and Whitpain to see where they are, and also then I'll check the bi-monthly meeting of the regional, participants that have been talking about this over time. There's various different municipalities at different stages of their creating an ordinance, getting their communications out or doing a survey, et cetera, et cetera. So there could be some more fluid townships getting ready to adopt. So hopefully in the next couple months, we'll have a bit more information. We did get the business mailing started. So this note here was from Karen, township manager, regarding the fact that the business file of what they had was not really that reliable or good for the mailing we did last April. So she was able to help get a more targeted list of businesses, and we just gave her the communication to get mailed to the targeted businesses just yesterday or today, actually this morning. So hopefully that'll be on the way. The apartment tenant communication Ben had created before he left, and so we will then request that to be sent out next. Apparently there's like 12 or 10 or 12 major apartment complex management contacts that the township knows about. So I think that's a reasonable reach. It'll at least get us some of the tenants in the township. So that's a good sign. So we'll work on getting that scheduled, hopefully in the next few weeks. We have our communications, our Facebook post, our feedback responses. I checked it. We just have the 113. That last one that came in was via a complaint form, or a form of commenting to the townships directly. So I just added it to our survey, Google survey, or feedback form, so it's all in one place. So the next time we extract the spreadsheet, it'll be included in there. So I think that's a good summary.
What was that, Bill? What was that last item? What will be added to the spreadsheet?
So I took the feedback response that came in from the township via a manual process, or a complaint form, I guess, that the township website has. And I just took that and I put it in the Google form, so it'll all be in our spreadsheet when we extract it next time.
Yeah, I wanted to just report on that. So, I presented the summary at the last meeting of the 112 you have listed there. I was confused on the count. I don't know what I was looking at. I don't know. I can't explain myself. There's no confusion on the count. Everything looks fine with the spreadsheet. Um, yeah, we're at 112. The numbers didn't, the pro con numbers, didn't change or anything like that. Everything I presented was fine. I was just, I was confused on, I guess, when exactly we grabbed the sheet that we were reporting back in August. I was thinking it was to the end of July, but we actually had early August included in what we reported at the August meeting, which makes sense since we weren't to the third week of the month. But for some reason, I was held up on that. So anyway, I think all is good. 112 plus now one, and we'll report on that, I guess, whenever we get some more feedback
Yeah,
again.
I'm hoping that the business mailing will elicit at least a few business responses, and Ben created a separate business survey, so, or feedback form, I should say. It's not a survey, but again, it's more targeted to what businesses might comment on, kind of like a question like what kind of information would help you, because I imagine when we create the web pages for this, we can definitely reuse what everybody else is using, but we ask for some input on that. So we'll see what kind of feedback we get from the businesses.
Yeah, that'd be great. I haven't been asking when I go into the stores, but I mean, also you're just kind of dealing with the checkout personnel, right? But I do kind of wonder what they think.
I
It's
know.
always so busy as I'm checking out. I'm like, I don't want to sit there and just, you know, hold up people chatting about plastic bags. But
Yeah,
I'm wondering and getting that
yeah,
feedback.
how people are going to react, once it goes into play. Yeah, I always wonder about that too, especially with the negative comments we received. They're pretty what do you call it? Frank about their resistance to this. Hey, Mike, good to see you.
Hey, sorry about that. You can hear me okay?
Yep, not at all. You sound great. Sound
Oh,
great.
okay, good.
Yep. I'm trying this is my work headset, so I guess I sound okay too.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
sound great.
Good. All right, so I was just giving an update, Mike, on the plastic bag work, and we did get Karen and the group that works with the business is in township. We're able to narrow the mailing list to be more applicable, more retail rather than just the old everybody, because, as she points out here, there were probably a lot of doctors, lawyers, stuff like that really wouldn't apply to. So they worked on creating a more tailored list. So that'll help us. So that just is going to get mailed out here shortly. We just submitted it this morning. And then the apartment mailing should, I'll follow up with that next week and see when they can get that out. I mentioned to Andy and Andrew that we have about 12 or 10 to 12 major apartment management companies. So that should give us a good reach into the tenant population. So that'll help. And then I mentioned also at the beginning that Whitpain is just starting their work on an ordinance. They've got their first meeting with Farron for their EAC in March. And then White Marsh has been attending the bi-monthly single-use plastic coalition meeting. And I don't know exactly when they're eager to do this, but I'll keep in touch with her and see when we might coordinate. If all three of us could coordinate, around the same time, I think our council would feel more comfortable with that. So we'll keep asking about that. So I'll go back to the minutes now that we've got a quorum. So these were the December minutes that Ben captured. Looks reasonable to me. Didn't know if you guys have anything you'd like to clarify more.
Yeah, no comments. I did read through them.
Yeah, so I think it looks pretty good. So should we have a motion to adopt?
Bill, do you know if there's been any, because are there 2 empty seats here now in this?
Actually, yes, that's true. Mike, Ben has tendered his resignation, and
Right.
also I just received email with Carolyn tendering her resignation. So we definitely have those 2 seats open. I did send an email to Eunice, but I haven't heard back, and I just sent it last week. So it may be that she hasn't had time to reply yet. But I did say, we're interested in, whether you're interested in, serving, or if something's come up, and I offered, a phone call if she wants.
Right.
So I haven't heard anything from her since I think the last time she was with us was last April, from what my memory serves. But so
Yeah.
we've got 2. So if you have any friends or acquaintances that might be interested, feel free to let them know. I don't know if the
Do you know if there's anyone lined up? Like, people apply if it's full, they, what's her name in the township puts them on the list to contact if someone resigns.
yeah,
Why am I blanking on her name?
Karen
Yes.
Karen Weiss.
Yes.
Yeah,
Karen Weiss. Yeah.
Karen Weiss. Yeah. You're right. As soon as they know about an opening, they put it in the monthly public meeting agenda. They make a mention of it, I believe, at the public meetings. And then each council member knows about it. And if they have a resident in their, district that is interested, or they might know, they can, offer to suggest that they apply. So yeah, if you have any acquaintances or friends or know a neighbor, then just say, this is another way to help the township, feel free.
Okie dokie. All right. So, I guess there's been no other interest yet with
No,
that.
no
Okay.
firm names. I did
Okay.
talk to Lynn about 3 weeks ago, and had asked her what she knew about the openings, and she just said she understood they had been announced, but she hadn't heard whether there's been any applicants yet. So I'll try to reach her, after she gets back from her trip.
Understood. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your vote there.
No. That's great. Really good question. So do we have a motion to adopt the minutes, December minutes?
Yeah, I'll motion to adopt the December minutes as they are.
And we have a second.
I'll second.
All right, Andrew, thank you. So actually that reminds me, I don't have a note taker tonight, but I'll capture from the recording afterwards. So
Trying to
this,
take notes as usual. I can offer to send them to you, and if you want, you can.
oh yeah,
Build.
if you could, I could help organize them too. Thank you. So tonight's our beginning meeting of the year, so it's a reorganization meeting. So since we have quorum, we can talk among ourselves. If you guys would like to switch roles, or have a chance to do something new. Since we're short 2 people, I guess we have an opportunity when the new people come in to see if they're interested in participating. But any volunteers for chair?
I was gonna say first, Bill. I mean, I don't know, Andrew, if you haven't been there. So we have the chair, co-chair, and secretary.
Yep.
Have
Secretary
you ever had
takes
any other positions, or?
the minutes? No, those are the 3 that we've always held with our board. So, that's another opportunity to think about the future. If we get back to full complement, we could also do some outreach to the residents and see if there are what we could add a role called associate member, which wouldn't be a voting member, but somebody who could participate in projects and help move things forward. Places like Conshohocken, and I think Ambler might have something like that I've heard about. But I guess until we get back to a full house, it might be hard to drum up some additional interest. So any interest in the chair role? Any interest in the vice chair role? And any interest in the secretary role?
I think I could give secretary a shot.
And Mike, that would be cool. Thanks, that would be terrific. And I will have the recording, with Andy's notes, and feel free, we could do it as a group effort this time, and then you can see you see what Ben has done. So
Yep. Okay.
they can be fairly concise. Doesn't have to be full detail, but kind of the major talking points, I guess, is the key in any votes that we do on things. But
Okay.
thank you. That would
Yep.
be great. And Andy, how do you feel about continuing as vice chair? Is that?
I guess I'm open to co-chair, whatever, and secretary if you want. Mike and I can give our speeches and we can run off here.
Or you could take turns, whatever works best. Cool. So,
Yeah.
So is that okay? I guess I'll be okay, being chair again. I think my term runs up until the end of this year. So I think this is 2 consecutive 3-year terms. And I think what happens is once you've done two consecutive 3-year terms, then you're asked to be off of the board for a year, and then you can come back. So I've already had 1 gap. And but I think it'll come up again after this term. So let's just see where we are in our.
Andrew, did you have any interest in any of the positions there?
Well, it sounds like they're full now, right? Like
Potentially, I mean, you know, whatever, if you
Yeah,
want to
I mean,
be,
if you
would
wanna
be interested in
volunteer.
co-chair, like I said, I mean, we can arm wrestle or whatever you want to do for it. You know?
Yeah, if you want to,
Rock, paper, scissors.
take a turn at something, that'd be great.
well,
Let's-
I'm still kind of learning how things go here, and still learning what we do. So maybe I shouldn't take on a higher role quite yet. But yeah, I guess my first full term just started. This is my first first meeting in full the first term, I guess, because I took over for someone, so that didn't count. But
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were helping finish out a term for someone that left, I think.
yeah.
We are. Okay, so I'm up, yeah, the end of this year. Eunice is also up the end of this year. Andy or Andrew, you're here till 25, so you got 2 more years after me. Mike, you've got 1 more year after me, so you got 2 years from today. And Andrew, Andy, you're also up the 2025. So if Carolyn is just resigned and this is Ben's open. So I guess they posted the open on the website, but Carolyn just sent her email in maybe, Friday. So probably hasn't had a chance to get updated yet. But yeah, if anything
Wait.
changes during the year and you guys want to switch roles, feel free to discuss. Andy.
Lynn's going to continue to be our council representative, right? Or would they change that already? Is that the beginning of the year?
Yeah, if it was going to change, it would be at the beginning of the year. She did not mention that she was going to change. And, when I contacted her about attending tonight, she didn't indicate there was going to be any change. So I assume, she's presumed she's sticking with us. If they bring in a new council member, gets elected in, and I don't think there was a council change this year, was there? That might be in this coming fall. If they bring somebody new in, then they give that person a chance. So that's what happened here with Karen Bramblett. She was our liaison, and then when Lynn came in, Karen wanted to maybe take another board and offered this to Lynn. So it just turned out to be a good switch. All right, so the return on environment study,
We
again, we're going to.
finalize the positions there, Bill, then?
Okay, so yeah, so I guess you're right. Thank you, sir. Keep me on track. So currently we have self-nomination of Bill for chair, and Dee for vice chair, and Mike for secretary. Any other discussion, additional discussion? Is there a motion to adopt
Yeah, I motion to adopt.
and a second?
I'll second it. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike and Andy. Yep, good. All right, so that helps. That finishes the organization. We've already discussed the reorg. The return on environment study, it's 6 pages. So, I haven't even had a chance to read it as I had hoped I would over the weekend, but at least now we've got another month to, try to get what you want to get out of it. I think it's a kind of nice perspective of what's happening in the environment in Montgomery County, and it was a pretty thorough exercise. I think it was roughly a 18-month study with a planning team and coordinator from the planning organization, Monco planners, and then citizen participants. And I happen to be one of the citizen participants, or a person that they felt would be a good fit for this. So I found it an interesting discussion as we went through all our meetings that people had a lot of good thoughts on how to take a look at the environment and what its value is, how it can really enhance the community and really offer that additional value that makes a place desirable to live. So I thought this would be a good opportunity for us to hear about it directly from the planners, and also to hear their perspective on how communities can help, implement some of the objectives or the thoughts out of it. Now Montgomery County is fairly built out, and Plymouth is fairly built out, but it seems like even though we think we're fully built out, that the township seems to have developers come in and either buy up a property or take some open space. That whole recreation area there over by Tees Golf. It used to be just the golf range there over near Conshohocken, and now there's this major area of fields and et cetera. And there's been more development over there with that road put in by the waste treatment or the recycling plant. So you never know when open space will appear or an opportunity will appear, and it gives the township a chance to try to preserve what they can. So I think it's worth it, even though we're fairly built out, because I also think it would help us also talk about using that open space for trail development too. So even though it doesn't sound like roads and sidewalks would be considered open space, I think you could make the argument that that also adds enough value for the township that it is worthwhile investment. And that's what I'd like to hear the planners talk about in their reflections on how Plymouth could make, use some of its benefits. So don't know if you guys have had a chance to think about this, or, just your first impressions. Any thoughts on this subject?
I was gonna say I didn't get a chance to review the documentation there, so it sounds like it'll be interesting, although lengthy. So
Yeah, it's a bit lengthy. So definitely try to, what do you call it, take snippets at times. There is a recording here from a discussion in September where Chester County gave a perspective on theirs. And so that could be another way to hear more about what open space means in general in the region. The Monco planners also did participate in that. So that could be a helpful background.
your last item there, the invite Montco planning, that's just what you were talking about that you're planning for tonight, right? That's just
Yeah,
the,
right.
okay.
They were going to come tonight, and if Lynn had been available, I would have thought it would have been worthwhile, but since she wasn't, we'll postpone it to the next month. But to give the presentation to us and hear our feedback and the thoughts that Lynn has as to what would the council want to focus on, what would be the challenging questions they would ask the Monco planners, I think would be a good chance for us as an EAB to kind of frame that and say, well, now we've heard what you've said. If we were pitching this to the council, how about if you focus on this, this, and this? That's the kind of thought I would have for us, giving them some feedback on their presentation. And it is a tricky balance between how do you make an investment in things that, you know, when you think about what the council has to fund and keep the township running, pay staff, keep the parks in good working condition, the grounds, you know, they've got their hands full with a lot of those operational details, right? So to make any real, what do you call it, growth in pursuits of something outside the norm operations, you know, it comes down to citizen volunteers to take the lead, like the, you know, the tree planting that Andrew is leading, and you know, this stuff we've been promoting as citizen volunteer, you know, volunteers. But to really do anything big, I think you need, you know, some fun. And the question is the value of open space preservation justify creating a new tax source for that? And, you know, I think the communities that have set up that type of funding have seen the benefits of it. And, you know, I guess I've used this example before, but with White Marsh, you know, was able to acquire the Hobb property there on Butler Pike next to the Abolition Hall for $800,000. And I'm, you know, doubtful that Plymouth Township would have any funds like that to be able to acquire a property without, you know, stretching their reserve or doing something else. So I think it takes a bit of pressure off trying to keep prioritizing things each year during the budget season. If you have a dedicated fund for open space, you don't have to then battle, you know, well, we've got so many operational needs here, we're not going to be able to do open space or parks or trails, you know, for another year. And then we keep getting pushed back to the back of the list, and it never happens. So that's what I'm really hoping that we could think about bringing forward and create a legitimate discussion on that value, because the value that has been shown is that within a reasonable reach of open space, township value goes up and the value of property goes up in perspective. So in the long run, the township does end up increasing its tax base over a longer period of time. And the value of the township becomes more and more, you know, brings more and more people who are drawn to it because they want to live in a community where they have access to those attributes. So are you guys?
I remember in 2019 when the whole Maple Acres thing came up, where they were gonna shut down, or they were, you know, once the guy who runs it decided to retire, that was going to be it. They were going to sell it to, you know, developer, and then Plymouth came in and I don't know what the right wording is. I don't know if they bought it or they made an agreement to, you know, have it permanently green. You know, that was great, you know, and I was kind of bummed out when I first heard that it was going to be for sale. And the same thing over here in behind us in Bluebell, the Mermaid Lake Swim Club, when that went under, and they were going to sell it to developers, then Bluebell came in and purchased that and make it into a park. You know, that made me super happy. So, and those are within, you know, those are within a stone's throw of our house here. So I certainly enjoy the green spaces we have here, especially those, you know, those two. So yeah, interesting to read this then over the next month. So.
Yeah, and actually those examples are terrific, Mike. So, you know, you could definitely chime in on that with our next meeting, just to say, hey, here's some value I've seen directly yourself. So yeah, the more.
Yeah, you know, and I grew up in New Jersey. Right at the end of our road was a big preserved green space with a pond and fishing and everything. And I mean, you know, it was like a movie. You could walk there with my buddies. We'd go fishing. We can go run around and everything. And it was great. So I want the same thing for my two guys as they're growing up. So yeah, no, it makes me happy when stuff like this happens. So
And I'm just curious, I don't know if any of you are, trail users or bicycle users or walking users, but if there were trails within a reasonable distance of your neighborhood, do you think you as a family or yourself would take advantage of it? If it was easy to get to, would you think, oh yeah, let's go for a walk? If
I
it was,
think I did ride my bike a lot until until we had kids and slowed us down. Once they're once they're both up on bikes, that's something I would want to try to do with them, go on some trails with them. But that's probably not going to happen for for me a handful more years. So till then, it's probably just going to be walking around the parks we have, more or less.
yeah. Yeah, no, and we got the recreational aspect of a trail network, and then also the utility use. If you had a trail that got you over to a shopping center and you didn't have a lot of items to acquire, or even getting over to a doctor's office, and it was a decent day, would that really make your interest in your neighborhood even more valuable? That's some of the things we could think about.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Well,
cool.
interesting. I mean, the Wissahickon trails are great. You know, unfortunately, don't see anything like that in Plymouth Township. Michael, I don't know if you have you hiked around the Bluebell, the example you said? I forget what's Mermaid Lake.
Oh, Mermaid
Uh,
Lake. Yeah, we walked around. Me and my kids walked around there a couple times when they first
Okay.
bought it, and then since then, I went fishing there. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times with my oldest son. And then every once in a while, when I'm working from home, I'll go there and have just to get out, go there and have my lunch there in the little covered picnic area they have. So, I mean, there's not a ton to really do there other than walk around and go fishing in the in the spring and the summer and stuff. But no, it's more well maintained now than it was when Bluebell first bought it. It was kind of wild for a while, but now I think they're maintaining it more than they used to.
Thanks.
Yeah, Andy, have you gone out for any family outings and that you would use trails, or you think that trails would appeal to you?
Well, yeah, I mean, we do a lot of the Wissahickon trails, and then go to the College Hill State Park. What's it? But so yeah, we do a lot of those nature trails. We bike around the neighborhood, but we haven't. I mean, I guess the kids are a little too young for biking further distances, so we don't have to hit some of the longer trails that are
Right.
around the area.
Andrew, you're a bicyclist, aren't you? Don't you do a little bit of bicycling?
Sometimes I try to bike to places that are close by. When we were meeting in person, I rode my bike a couple times because I live right up the top of the street at Belvar, so close by the township building and stuff. So I sometimes ride my bike to the park, or usually in the summer though.
Nice, yeah, I like bicycling especially the Valley Forge Trail and over to Conshohocken, and I can get on at a mile from my house to the Cracker Barrel there on Chemical, and then head over to Conshohocken. So that's a
Yeah.
nice route.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, if you guys get a chance to look at the study, and then we'll be prepared to ask the planner some good questions. We can have that discussion next month. So I guess then I don't have any other items. Oh, we had talked about adding your verbiage to the website. Andrew, did I forget to reply? I think you had sent me something, or did you have some more work you wanted to do before we submitted it?
Yeah, I think after we talked about it last meeting, we decided to make a web page for it, right? Or did we decide to just add a blurb on the EAB or somewhere on the website?
You know, we could, if there's value on adding it to or having its own web page, you could look at, you know, is there value for the other board to also connect to it? So we've got the Parks, Recreation, and Shade committee or board, so they could, you know, possibly we could have us both link to that new page. So I would say there would be value in making it a link or a separate page, and then we could have them link to it and our site link to it. You know, saying here's an opportunity to get involved in tree planting, and then link to this new page.
Okay.
So do you feel the content would be close to what you would want for that we could submit it to you know, Brandon and the township IT group, and maybe he could draft up a page for us, and you know, before we publish it, we could look at it, just see if we feel, you know, if you feel like it's what you'd like to have it look like.
Sure. Yeah, I can definitely draft a page, short page that can be linked to.
From either, yeah, because you know, we've got a set of links pages already, but you know, this would give us another chance, and then maybe we could even encourage the township to just add a news item here once they're ready to go. You know, it could just be announced here, say, you know, township residents or whatever, here's an opportunity to participate in tree plantings. And whenever you think it would be good timing to get this out there, get the information out there. I think we may have, I didn't think to ask Rick when the spring newsletter deadline is, so we may be close. If I get a chance, I'll email. If anybody has an article that we would want, you know, if we time the webpage and we can get an article out, that's another opportunity to get some interest started.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we can take a look at that. Haven't really done anything on the Facebook for a while. I think our last announcement was regarding the single-use plastic. Let's see, do we have a link from our, I'm sure we do. Where'd our page go?
Hey, Andy, you're a member of our neighborhood Facebook group, right?
I'm not, no.
Oh, you're not? Okay. Are you on Facebook?
That would be why I'm not a member of the community. Yeah.
Okay. Never mind. The answer is mine. I was going to ask you
Yes.
if you had posted anything about the open spots in the group, and that answers my question. Okay. If I remember between now and the next meeting, I'll put a post with a link out for our neighborhood to draw some interest in some member or two, maybe.
That's a good point. I guess I could verify with Karen that we can put the announcement on our site too. Say we're looking for new members. That would be a good opportunity to post it here. I see Brandon and IT has been posting our meeting times, so that's at least one thing that's been happening on a monthly basis. And then last time we posted something other than a meeting. Oh wow, we haven't had oh, that was the article. Actually, this would be an opportunity to send out or link to the fall newsletter. I'm surprised I missed that opportunity. So maybe this would be a chance to say, hey, we're still working on this single-use plastic. Any citizen input, it's appreciated. And here's a link to the fall newsletter article on it. So I'll try to draft something for that coming up. All right, so I think that's pretty much all we had. Anybody have any other topics they'd like to discuss?
I mean, at least a couple times around the January timeframe, right, we've kind of talked about what we'd like to see changed or what things we'd like to undertake in the coming year. I don't know if anyone had any ideas. Maybe talk about what's working, what's not. Business wise, I guess they say it's a start, stop, continue discussion. But I don't have one thought suggestion still. I don't. We just don't really have the any kind of community involvement here. We haven't really found a way to engage that well with anyone. I look at some of the neighboring communities, some did like the butterfly or rain gardens, things like that really got some hits to their Facebook pages and got some people looking at it, and then they're able to grow from there. And Andrew, if you want to coach us on how you take a simple idea of, relocating some trees and turning it into kind of a community movement. I think what you've done there with Colonial Canopy is really, really interesting and wonderful initiative. So, I just the idea of, I don't know if each of us could think of something small. I think we tend to get intimidated. Even like the butterfly garden can be kind of intimidating. Like, how do we do this big thing and coordinate something? And I think we could all just use some like small ideas. Just this is something that I would be interested in doing. Very small and simple, and then we'll see what we could do with it, where we could grow it. I think a lot of things we're doing, the energy plan, the plastic ban, the park space. These are things that require a lot of council approval, require a lot of budget, or vote, by council and the whole township. If there's any small things we can do just to post on our Facebook, maybe get some kids interested in, like the butterfly garden, I think really got the kids interested, and the adults followed. So just some small things like that, just to get us on the map a little bit with some people in the township, could get some excitement going.
Yeah, definitely agree with that, and I think it's good to try and, there's definitely more people in the township that are, I would think, that are interested in the stuff we're doing. They just might not know that we're doing it. But yes, more social media posts that we could share across our own personal Facebook pages, or I can share on my Facebook page, and Talk in Plymouth, which has like a couple thousand Plymouth residents or nearby residents of local or other neighboring municipalities. Just like informative things. Like I look at some stuff that White Marsh Township does with their social media. And recently they came out with a little one-page flyer on like what is recyclable and what's not within the township, and how the township recycles, and just like an informational flyer that they put out on social media and sent out on email. And maybe if we can do stuff like that and try to increase our outreach, we can start to engage the public a little more, and let them know that we're doing what we're doing and that kind of stuff. And I also really like the idea of a little butterfly or pollinator garden. I was actually thinking about this and maybe potentially approaching Rick with the idea of creating a pollinator garden at Black Horse Park. There's a little strip of grass, like a kind of on the left as you go into the park when you're driving in, but there's I think it would be a perfect little spot for a pollinator garden. That could be, we could take it on as the EAB and plant some plants in there and engage the community in some way there as well. But I think, yeah, that's a great opportunity because it's front and center of the park. You could put some signage or whatever, and yeah, I'd be happy to get involved with that or to try and get that going if we want to try and make that a community thing somehow. Or wherever else, if you have other ideas for locations.
Yep. Sounds good.
I'll say one thing is the Harriet Weatherall butterfly garden looks like it's kind of fallen under some disrepair. I don't know if you know the status on that, or I guess we don't have Rick here, but I don't know if it could use some TLC.
Yeah, me and Aaron from Colonial Canopy walked through Harriet Weatherall a week or two ago with John. I don't know his last name, but he's the kind of the caretaker there at Harriet Weatherall. He does a lot of the mowing and pretty much all the park maintenance. And he was, we were walking through the meadow, and it has a lot of great native plants and flowers and grasses and stuff, but there's some invasives popping up, and we talked about how to manage the meadow, like how often to mow if they're trying to keep that as a meadow. But yeah, the little butterfly garden, he said folks haven't really been back since COVID. So that area that they used to maintain is kind of being overgrown or whatever.
It's
Yeah,
another
great ideas.
something we had talked about. I don't know if it started as a community garden at Harriet Weatherall, or if it started, I feel like it started actually as composting. And we just kind of got sidetracked and kind of started talking back to that community garden, which I know is something that was talked about years ago as well. And they just couldn't find somebody to champion the idea and coordinate it all. So it kind of died. But I really like the idea of a community compost. And I know we had that woman come in and present on her small company in the area. And I know we had, sorry, I'm forgetting who's in charge of waste in the township, but
Herschel Shaba.
Chris, yeah, we had Chris come and talk to us once or twice as well. And I don't know. I think composting would be just some very interesting topic again, if there's some way that we can promote that some more in the township. I mean, I do it in my backyard. I'm no expert at all, but somehow or other it gets broken down and it works, I guess. But
Yeah, I kind of do the same thing. I've been having a pile in my backyard for 5 or 6 years now, and just kind of throw things out there and cover them with leaves and grass clippings, and it breaks down and you reuse it right in your yard. It's good stuff.
Yep, those are good topics. Yeah, we could invite Colleen. It was Colleen Flicky who runs that business that we could invite back, see what's happened in the last year. And now that COVID is, we're kind of beyond it, maybe she could see if there is the opening for opportunities to engage more of the community in it. So yeah, great ideas. We can keep this as a topic area to keep adding to, come up with additional ideas through the year. Oh, good. Great thoughts. Anything else? Oh, when do you think the first tree plantings will get back into swing, Andrew?
Yeah, so I actually wanted to announce that the tree tenders trees or the tree tender offerings were released today. So we have a list of trees that PHS Tree Tenders is offering. Again, Colonial Canopy Trees is a tree tenders group. So we have the opportunity to buy these trees at a very discounted rate. They're 1.5-inch caliper, usually 8 to 12 feet tall. So the ones that we've planted, the last few years, good sized trees, and they're $60 per tree that's being planted in a public place or within 10 feet of a sidewalk or road. So I will send Rick an email tomorrow and let him know that the list is out and ask him if he had any ideas for or any places he wants to plant within the township in particular. And if not, we can pitch some ideas. So I don't know if you guys have any parks in mind or public areas that the township owns or whatever, for places that may need trees. I'd be happy to write some down and come up with some ideas. We've been, last fall, we planted at Black Horse Park. We put 6 trees there. We planted at Allenwood Park last spring, Harriet Wetherill last spring, and last fall. And we've planted at a good number of different parks now, but there's always space for more trees.
Yes. Yeah, we can use as many as we can get. And then is the Bare Root program another program that we're gonna target too?
Yeah, so that is the PHS Tree Tenders trees are the bare root ones.
Okay.
So their list came out. And also I wanted to mention if any of you want a tree for your own property, or if you know anyone who wants it within Plymouth or White Marsh, we can offer trees to residents as well. And if, like I said, if they're planted within 10 feet of a sidewalk or a street, you get them at $60, which is pretty good rate for a tree that size. And if it's not within that 10 to 15 feet, it's in like your backyard or something, it's $100, which is still a pretty good price for that size. But if anyone is interested for their own property, I can send you the list of trees.
Is that something we could put on the Facebook page, or not looking for that level of advertisement?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to get as many people on board. It's just right now when these trees get planted, PHS requires that a person who took their tree tenders course be present at the time of planting. So we've talked about it before, like if we get too many residents on board, being spread too thin. But we've also talked about ways around that. So I don't know. I don't think that many people would be super interested, but if we had 5 or 10 residents, that would be doable, I think.
Has that been promoted at all in any of the other townships? Did White Marsh do a decent job of making that news available to its residents? And did you get a lot of interest from that?
Yeah, so we're actually like the tree tenders group for White Marsh too. So we haven't offered trees directly to residents previously, but we helped the last 2 years organize White Marsh's first and second tree giveaway. So over the last 2 years, they gave away 350 trees to residents. And these were smaller potted ones, but they gave those trees away to residents, and residents signed up, and we helped them pick the right tree for the right place in their yard and stuff like that. But all those trees were funded by fee in lieu funds, which was ultimately came from developers who had to cut down trees and didn't replace the correct amount of trees back, didn't plant them back after development. so they just paid a fee to the township instead, and that money was used to buy those giveaway trees.
And have you written this up on your own website that you're making that, kind of news public to the citizenry?
Yeah, and we post on our social medias and write it up on our webpage and some spots, the projects that we're involved in. But I guess I wanted to ask if, I looked briefly on Plymouth Township's E-code and I didn't see anything about, tree ordinance or anything like that. Do you guys know if we have a tree ordinance or, a planting list or anything like that? I didn't see anything, but
Not sure.
working with Whitpain Township at work. I work at the Morris Arboretum, and we're working with Whitpain to redo their tree ordinance.
It might be a worthwhile question to run by Rick, just because he's been connected. He may not know directly, but he may know who might know, and might be able to connect you with that contact. And also, I was thinking about your, ability to advertise this, whether that type of announcement would be a worthwhile news item that we could just have as a separate, maybe ask if it could be put on the main news as a news post on Plymouth news list. And maybe, if you're kind of nervous about how many people would apply, say, we've got a limited number of these opportunities to help residents gain access to these trees. We could probably accommodate, 5. So it'd be first come, first serve. At least it'd be a chance to put the word out and see whether you do get any, bites from our citizenry. At least then, if it was on the main website and it got announced at a public meeting, maybe we get lucky and find out a few more people that could be interested. And then you could see, based on the demand, we got more than 5, the first 5 say, hey, we're taking names for future years where we might be able to do more.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Thank you. I'll talk to Karen and see what she thinks. If we want to do that as well.
Sure. Good work. All right, so I guess that's all I kind of thought we have for tonight. We don't have any other discussions. Are we ready to close?
Yeah, I'll motion to close.
And a second,
Second.
Andrew. Thanks, guys. Good to catch up with you tonight. And we'll do it again next month with a different focus.
Okay. Sounds
All
good.
right.
Everyone have a good month.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks for the
everyone.
kickoff. All right, see you guys. Take
Take
care.
care.
Bye.